Hey guys, what's going on? My name's Gromit, and this is the 5th video in this series of how to get the Criminal Mastermind challenge completed, which will get you a cool 10 million GTA dollars. And in this video we're going to be looking at the 4th heist, Series A, which is a heist that you complete for Trevor. And it's not so much a heist like all the other ones, but rather just like a group of missions together. And for this heist in particular, you're definitely going to want to stock up on all your snacks and armor before you start it, as there's a lot of driving and you want to always have enough snacks and armor to keep your health up, as you're going to be getting shot quite a lot and you're going to be quite exposed and vulnerable when you're driving. But anyways, let's go straight to the first setup mission. And in the first setup mission you're going to be stealing bricks of cocaine off a ship out in the sea. You're going to be split up into 2 teams. One team's going to take a helicopter and the other team's going to take a boat. So depending on what team you're on, you want to head to the vehicle that you need to get into, and then either fly or sail out to the boat out in sea. If you're on the boat team, then you want to head to the back of the ship, and there'll be a little platform that you can get out, that you can climb out of the water onto and get onto the ship. If you're in the helicopter, you can either circle around the ship and just provide sort of cover for the other people on the boat, or what's probably best is you can land the helicopter on the helipad and both of you get out, and then you basically have the boat team clearing out the lower decks and the helicopter team clearing out the top decks. And there are 9 bricks of cocaine altogether on the ship on various different levels. So just go through the entire ship, clear out every room, and the cocaine's pretty obvious to see. It's sort of glowing, and it'll just be on like tables and chairs and stuff, sort of at eye level. There isn't any like hidden on the floor or underneath anything. You don't really have to look for them that hard. And they also appear on the mini-map as well, so you can check that and see where they are. And you can also see, depending on the arrow, what level of the boat they're on, which makes it a lot easier. So in terms of what weapons you want to use, something like an auto shotgun's pretty good for the close quarters parts. Or we can just go for like a submachine gun or assault rifle, which is pretty good in all parts of it. And most people seem to die by just like rushing into rooms and not checking them properly before, because the guys in this boat do sort of hide a lot, and they'll just pop out at you as soon as you run in, and then you're exposed and they'll shoot you quite easily. So just make sure you use lots of cover and check the rooms before you go running into them. And you might want to leave one guy outside on the deck somewhere with like the homing launcher to take out any of the helicopters that come after you, so they can be a bit of a pain. And remember to just keep eating snacks and using your armor for this bit as soon as your health starts to get a bit low. But you shouldn't really have too much trouble with this one. So once you've found all of the bricks of cocaine, the helicopter team can head back to the helicopter, and then it's easiest if they pick up the boat team as well, so it's a lot quicker to get back to the drop off point. So if you just like lower the helicopter down and sort of pick them up by the swimming pool area is probably the easiest way. And then when everybody's in, you can head back to the warehouse, and to make sure you don't hit the overpass or anything when you land in the helicopter. And that's the first setup complete. You just speak to Ron and he'll take the cocaine off you, and you can get started on the second one. Now the second setup's a lot harder, definitely. This is the garbage truck one, so it doesn't matter which cars you take to start with, because you're going to be getting the trash truck anyway. But head over to South LS Recycling Plant where you're going to pick up the truck, and there will be a couple of guys around there, so security guards with handguns that are going to attack you when you go near it. So just take all those guys out and then get in the truck. And then depending on what team you are, you either get in the front of the truck or hang on to the back. So now you can head over to the first pickup point, which is over at Forum Drive. And you want to reverse the trash truck up to where the bags are. The driver won't be able to see where they are, so the people on the back will have to guide him, tell them where they are, so we can reverse it right up to them. And then if you reverse the truck right up, it's a lot quicker to get the bags in the back. And it offers you a little bit of cover and protection as well if anybody attacks you. But the first one, nobody will attack you on the first one. So just run over to the bags, pick them up, and then put them in the back. And it can be a little bit awkward to get them in. Just make sure that the driver isn't moving at all. He needs to keep the truck still while you do it. And it seems to work a little bit better if you stand at the back of the truck for like a couple seconds and then put it in. Otherwise he just usually drops it if you try and do it too fast. But there's 2 bags for the first bit. So pick up the 2 bags, put them in the truck, and get back on the truck. And now head over to the second pickup point, which is over at Capitol Boulevard. So once again, reverse the truck into this alleyway, and for this one there are 3 trash bags to pick up. But basically as soon as you pick up the first one, enemies are going to start spawning and coming after you. So you might want to leave just one person picking up the bags and the other person shooting the guys. And then once you've got all 3 bags into the truck, you might want to just wait until it's definitely clear and you aren't going to get shot driving away. And then you can just hop on the truck and drive off onto the third pickup point. And then the next place you're going to be heading to is the gas station on Supply Street. This is the third pickup point. And before you get to the gas station, I'd recommend blowing up all of the gas pumps so they don't blow up while you're in there. Then you want to back up the trash truck around this corner into this bit of an alleyway. And there will be 4 trash bags here to pick up. And there's going to be a lot of enemies coming after you. So as soon as you pick up the first bag, you basically just want to get everybody into a good firing position. There's quite a bit of cover, you just want to cover every angle as well. And then when it's a little bit clear, once you've taken out the first sort of wave of enemies, you might want to try and get a couple more bags in. But just take your time with it, don't rush it. It's better to clear out the enemies as much as you can and then put the bags in, instead of trying to get the bag in while there's enemies around and getting shot. And then once you've got all the bags in, try and clear out the enemies as best as you can and then drive off. And the final pickup point, the fourth one, is at Vespucci Boulevard. So drive the truck into the marker and then you want to back the truck up down this alleyway on the left. And there are only 3 trash bags here. And again, as soon as you put the first one in the truck, you're going to get enemies spawning. And they're going to be coming mainly from like these back alleyways. So you want to make sure that you cover them. It's quite hard for one person to cover both alleyways. So maybe someone in the truck wants to get out and help as well, while the other person carries on loading the bags in. So just try and stay in cover if you can and take out all these guys coming down the alleyway. And then once you've got all 3 bags in, you can get back on the truck. And that was the last pickup, so you can head back to the drop-off point now, which is back at the same factory where you took the helicopter in the last setup. And whilst you're driving to the final drop-off, you will get a couple of people coming after you in SUVs and stuff, and you'll have to take those guys out. So when you're on the trash truck, you can have the armor menu open and keep putting armor on when you get hit, and just use something like the submachine gun or the AP pistols to take them out. And that's the second setup mission done. So now you can move on to the third setup, and this is the bikers part. And to start with, you need to head to Trevor's trailer in Sandy Shores, where you're going to get some silenced weapons. So it's a bit of a long drive, so you want to just take a fast car straight up there. And when you get to Trevor's trailer, you can go into his garage on the sides, and there'll be a bunch of silenced weapons in there. So take them if you don't have any, or if there's ones there that you want. But the weapons I definitely recommend you having is a silenced marksman rifle, maybe the silenced bolt action sniper, and a silenced machine gun of some kinds, maybe like a special carbine. And then once you've got cleared out with the weapons that you want, you need to head over to the sort of beach area, where there'll be the dinghy boat ready for you to go. So get into the dinghy and you're going to head over to the biker place where all the trailers are, and pull up on the little beach area and jump out. And you have to do all this stealthy, you can't alert any of the lost members. So like the stealth mission in the Humane Labs, it definitely pays off to have a good team who's communicating well. And then using like the marksman rifle, you can coordinate and take everybody out without alerting anyone. So the best way to go about this is, as you can see, the road is sort of in a loop. So if you split yourself up into 2 teams and one team go down the one road and the other team take the other road, it will mainly just be guys standing around that you can take out quite easily. But there will be a couple of guys who are walking down the road and you might have to sort of wait for them to come into view to take them out. But just look at the minimap, look at their sight lines and make sure that when you take somebody out, no one else is going to see them. And just both teams work their way around the road until you meet up, and that should be everybody cleared out. If you don't have a good team who isn't communicating, then you're probably best off going for like the silenced assault rifle and just try and take them out as quickly as you can before they mess everything up. I'd say it is possible if you have 4 people with silenced automatic weapons to just sort of run through and take everybody out, but it's a hell of a lot easier to just do it to communicate properly and take them out with like a sniper rifle. So good luck with that if you're playing with randomers, but hopefully you've got a decent team playing with you. And once all the bikers are dead, you can now grab the 2 lost vans, and you need both of them. And you can either have everybody get into the vans, you can have 2 in each, or you can just have like one person get into the van and then the other 2 get into separate vehicles to protect them. If you choose your insurgent at the start, you can now use the interaction menu to call for it, and that makes it a lot easier. You can use that to ram the other vehicles out of the way. And this bit is a lot trickier. You're going to be driving all the way back to the factory again with these vans, but just make sure you have the armor window open so you can keep putting armor on, and you should be okay. Try and stick together, because usually when one person gets left behind, they get grouped up on by the AI and they get taken out quite easily. So stay together, keep the armor menu open, and you should be alright with this. And try not to crash too much. Just follow the route they give you to get back to the warehouse, and that's pretty much everything to do this mission. And be careful when you're running over the bikes as well, because sometimes they'll blow up, and try not to blow up any vehicles when they're close to the vans or the other teammates, so you don't accidentally kill them. Then when you're getting back to the warehouse, you get another cutscene with Ron, and that's the 3rd setup mission done. So you can now move on to the 4th one, and the 4th one is the longest drive in all the heists. You're going to have to drive all the way out to the sawmill up in Palito Bay. So definitely get a fast car for this, or get in one of your teammates' cars, and just follow the route all the way over to the sawmill at Palito Bay, and then get set up in your positions, And you're going to be split up into teams as well. There's going to be like a ground crew and a team of snipers as well. But you don't have to actually follow those team rules. You can all go in, all of you together if you wanted. It doesn't really matter for this. But basically just go through the entire place, clear everybody out. There's quite a lot of people. And there's sometimes people up on like the roofs and the catwalks you've got to watch out for. And you want to head over to the 2 Benson trucks up in the top sort of corner. When everything's cleared out, you can get in the trucks and start driving them, and you just have to drive them back to the same factory again. And you might want to wait for the sniper team to come down the hill and get into the sawmill, because they're going to be taking the technical with the gun on, and they're going to be protecting the 2 vans. And again, just like the last setup, make sure you stay together, keep the armor menu open and keep putting armor on, and head back to the factory again. There are a couple of routes that you can take. The marked route is probably the hardest. It takes you like through the mountains, and there'll be quite a few roadblocks of people coming after you. The safest way is to just follow the train tracks. So if you follow the route, you'll see the train tracks sort of on your left, just down the hill a bit. And if you follow them to the left and go all the way around, you can follow the train tracks basically right up to the warehouse where you need to go. And when you're on the tracks, you get a lot less people coming after you. Basically no one will come after you. So it's a lot safer, but it does take quite a bit of time. You are on a time limit. But definitely give it a go if you're a bit worried of dying at this point. And there's also another way that you can do it if you follow the train tracks to the right instead and go through the tunnel. Then you can go through the tunnel over the bridge, and you'll follow the train tracks to sort of sandy shores, and you'll just cut out a big section of driving through the mountain, and you'll have a lot less people coming after you for that part, and you won't have to drive through the roadblocks either. But then from there on, you'll have to follow the roads, and you'll have a lot of people coming after you. But if you do choose to go that way, watch out in the tunnel when a train comes, because it's a single track, you don't have a lot of room, you won't be able to move the vans out of the way. But it is a lot safer than driving through the mountain having to go through all the roadblocks. But it's completely up to you what you think you'll be best at. And then it's basically the same as the last setup, just driving back to the warehouse. Keep using armor, try not to split up, just try and stay together so you don't get singled out, and you should be okay. This is probably the hardest part of the heist. And just make sure that you don't blow up any vehicles when they're next to your teammates as well. And then get back to the warehouse, and you need all 3 vehicles, you need both the vans and the technical to do this. And pull them up in the warehouse, and that'll be the second to last setup mission done, so it's just one more setup left. And then the final sort of heist mission at the end. So on to the last setup mission, and for this you're definitely going to want an armoured Kuruma, and it's probably worth fully upgrading it as well performance wise, as you're going to have a fairly long drive out to a farm out in Sandy Shores area. So everybody get in the Kuruma and head out to that farm, and then when you get to the farm, because the car's completely armoured, the driver can just drive you around and around the farm, whilst the 3 passengers inside can just gun everybody down. And this is probably the best and fastest way to do this, and it keeps you pretty safe as well inside the armoured car. So keep circling around the farmhouse again and again, taking out everybody. You can actually pull up right next to the windows and kill people inside as well. And there is a considerable amount of enemies in this place, so you're going to need to do quite a few loops to take them all out. And there's quite a few people as well in like around the outbuildings around the house as well. So just use the minimap and find out where the enemies are and go to them and take them out. Then once the area near the house is clear, head around to the sort of area around the back of the house where there'll be a bunch of trucks waiting. There'll be a load more guys here as well to take those guys out. Try not to burst the tyres on any of the trucks because you're going to need to be taking them soon. So clear everybody out, and when it's all clear you can get out of the Kuruma and get into one of the tanker trucks. And then you can head around to the meth trailer, which is the big orange tanker trailer. And you can hook that up to one of the trucks and take it over to Trevor's meth lab in Sandy Shores. And a good tactic for this part is to take 2 of the truck cabs. So that way, if one of the trucks gets like a flat tire or something, you can disconnect the trailer, hook it up to the other one and keep on going. Because if you do get flat tires, it can make it quite hard to control and it will make it a lot slower. And again, you're going to have a load of people coming after you. But luckily you don't have to drive all the way back to that warehouse again. Just drive over to Trevor's meth lab. So make sure that the people coming after you don't shoot the tanker truck too much, otherwise it will blow up. You have the tanker health indicator in the bottom right, and then the other 2 people can use the Kuruma. They'll be completely armoured and they can speed around a lot more and take out all the guys, hopefully before they get too close to the tanker even. And then pull up at the meth lab and disconnect the trailer and you'll get like a cutscene. And this setup isn't too hard if you follow the instructions here. Like staying in the Kuruma makes it so much easier. But if you don't use the Kuruma and you try and do it on foot, it will be a lot harder, as there are like just so many enemies at that farm. And if you need to, you can have the armor menu open as well when you're driving back to the meth lab if they're really attacking you a lot. But generally it's quite a short drive and you're not going to have too many people coming after you, so you should be okay. And that is the last setup mission done, so you can now move on to the heist mission. But it isn't really a heist mission, it's just like pretty much the same as the ones you've just done. And it doesn't matter what vehicles you use for this, because you won't be using them anyway. But to start with, the first thing you need to do is to defend the warehouse from sort of a couple waves of enemies coming after you. And you're going to have two teams, a south team and a north team. So go to your positions to start with to start the waves coming at you, to start the mission. And a good tactic for this is to grab the technical. You can actually get in it at this point, move it into a good position and use the gun on it to take out the enemies coming after you. You sort of set it up as a gun placement, gives you a lot more firepower and it's really good for blowing up the enemy vehicles. So just bear that in mind. And then after a few waves of enemies have come after you, two people are going to get in the technical and the other two people are getting into the two trucks. And you have to drive all the way to where the lighthouse is on the east coast of the island, which is quite far north. You've got, yeah, it's fairly far away. And you're going to have a lot of people coming after you, bikers and stuff. So whoever's on the gun on the insurgent needs to really be on point, taking out everybody out. And just like all the other setup missions, again, stay together, keep the armor menu open, definitely, you're going to need it quite a lot on this one. Make sure you've got snacks that you can eat if your health gets low. And keep an eye on the minimap to see where the enemies are coming from. Communication can help quite a bit in this as well, so like the driver can tell you where enemies are coming from. Like quite a few times I was looking behind the truck and the driver would tell me that there's somebody in front that you need to take out. And there's also going to be a bunch of helicopters near the start as well that you need to take out. And there's not really much more I can say about this. To make sure you're wearing your armor, using the armor menu, and do everything I've said and you should be okay with it. It does really just require a bit of luck, make sure you don't get hit too badly, and hopefully you should be fine. You also can't let the trucks get shot too badly because you do have health meters, which are going to drain down when they get shot or when they crash. So just be careful of that, and don't blow up vehicles too close to them either because that'll damage them. And then when you get to near the lighthouse place, just pull up into the markers and that is the entire heist complete. It's not so much as a heist like the other ones, just like a series of missions. But that is the second to last heist complete, there's only one left now. And if you haven't died yet and you're still doing this challenge, then you're pretty close to getting the 10 million bonus. So just watch this cutscene and that'll be the end of the heist. I'm not going to spoil what happens in it. But that is it for this video. If you want to see the final part of this, then subscribe to our channel and check out the previous parts as well if you haven't already. As ever, feel free to leave any comments or questions, and good luck with getting this $10 million bonus and completing the Criminal Mastermind challenge. So I've been Gromit, and thanks for watching.